Okay, I think we are recording. Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Renee. Welcome to Sharing Our Shine. And as an extension of my adult coloring that I'm adding to the channel, I decided to go ahead and do a coloring page. Started from scratch. Now I did reprint this in a inkjet printer, excuse me, after I took it out of the book. The book is Friend from My Imaginary World by Jane Hankins. And if you watch my original, this is an extra copy, if you watch my original introduction to my coloring journey video, I did a flip through of a page of hers that I completed, of a book of hers that I completely completed. Now, Jane Hankins no longer sells her books. I was able to pick up quite a nice collection of her books when she was selling off her warehouse stock. And since she's no longer selling the books, rather than color directly in the book, since I can't replace them, I am taking advantage of the fact that these pages are perforated, and I was easily able to remove it, grab the page, make a copy of it on my Nina paper, 110-pound cover cardstock paper, and that's how I will be using her smaller books. Now her larger 11 by 14 books, I won't be able to do that. I'll have to have copies made at a one of the office supply places. But this approach is, I did some testing on this paper, that and some mixed media paper, and I landed on using the Nina paper that I get from Amazon's cover cardstock 110-pound smooth paper. And my media seems to work quite well on this. So I am simply starting with a print. Nothing is prepped. It's just a copy. So I'm going to start on this page with the faces. And I'm going to use markers on the faces. Now I'm not going to prep prior to using the markers because markers don't work over surface prep. In my introduction video, I talked about the items that I use for surface prep for coloring pages, and that is Art Basics Clear Gesso or the Golden Satin Glazing Liquid. I think I will probably do, I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let me take a moment and talk about the supplies I'm using. Now, I bought these markers when I was doing art journaling, and I double checked on Amazon. I bought them in 2013, and these are the Letraset Pro markers. I have a full set. I have more than a full set, if I'm honest about it. I have a marker case that holds 170, and that is completely full. Plus I have duplicates because they stopped making this version of the marker. And Letraset, that's now owned by Winsor Newton, went to a different type of marker. Brush tip markers, which are very nice. Do I have any in here? Let me see. Actually, these aren't brush tip. These are bullet tip, Winsor Newton. And they did have a brand called Flex. Is that even in the camera? Because you know me and trying to find the lens. Let's see here. Oh, I'm terrible at it. There we go. Flex markers. And these do have a brush tip. Now, if I'm honest about it, I prefer the older markers. These are the original Pro markers that I bought in 2013. And they have the bullet tip and the chisel tip. I also own the Kelly Art brush tip, and I own the Ohuhu brush tip. I own Blick brush tip. Not the whole set, just the portrait. The 12 markers from the portrait set of Blick markers. I do have the Copic sketch. Just a small, let me share that with you. Do I have it out? I think I do. I keep them in this case, and I don't have very many. But you can see in this case, I do have the sketch markers in a variety of colors. Again, portrait, skin tone, cheek colors. And that's generally what I use. But for this outing, I decided to go through my Pro Marker spares and pick a variety of skin tone colors. And I'm going to be using these. Now, one of the reasons that I like the old version of the Pro Marker is because at one time when they made them, they made this ultra fine nib with its own cover, and it looks like that. They don't make the markers anymore, they don't make the nibs anymore, so the only way for me to buy the nibs is to find a seller on eBay that happens to have them. And basically you take the cap off your bullet tip, replace it with this ultra fine nib, and now you have this color in an ultra fine tip. And it looks like this, the packaging. And again, they don't make these anymore, so whatever I could find, a seller on eBay that sold these, and what the devil is that? That's a piece of wax from my wax melt. I would buy them. They are the nib attachment for the Pro Marker, and I love those nib attachments. But anywho, I am going to start on this coloring page with my Pro Markers. I don't know that I want that color. Let's see here. What do I have out? This is tan. Okay, we can start with tan. And I like the fact that the cap posts on the back of the marker. So, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Again, this is a reprint from the book. I took the page out. And let me see how close I am. Can I get any closer? Or am I close enough? Oh, I think I might have to be... Let me see. Maybe that's going to be close enough. I do have a light on. My lighting is not the best, as you know. But it will make do. So I'm just going to apply this darker color along the shading here that's illustrated. I don't know if you guys have fruit flies yet in your neck of the woods, but they have returned from last year. I'm hoping to keep them under control because they were out of control last year. And I see one kind of lurking around. Oh, they're so annoying. Brush tip versus these felt tips or the bullet tips. I guess, like most colorists, I do prefer the brush tips, but I don't mind the bullet tips. Especially since I started with the bullet tips and I own the full set of Pro Markers. I don't even know what the full set of Pro Markers or Letra set markers are now. I don't know what the color range that they offer now that Winsor Newton now owns the brand. But it's the markers I started with. They're, like I said, I bought them in 2013. I've had to replace a few. Some got damaged, some dried out. There aren't any refills available, so I just replaced the marker, which is why I have dupes of some of the more popular colors that I use. But I'm going to start with there. and that was tan. And I do have, now these, I call these sippy cups. They're not sippy cups, they're snack cups. But when I use something, I just kind of stick it in there so I know what I used. And now I'm going to go with a light color. Almond's a good color. This is ivory, that's too light. Let's see here. Blush, no. And this is another color. Rose, tea rose, no, no, no. I think I'll go with almond. And I will, let's see, which one is this? No. No, no, no. I'll go with the almond. I will go with the almond. Now, when I'm doing a coloring page, because my go-to product to use for coloring is my inks, I do my marker work first to get it all laid in, because when I use my inks, I do the surface prep with either the gesso or the satin glazing liquid. But I don't want to put that on the paper before the marker work is done. That is the one thing. Not because I'm trying to prep the nib or trying to protect the nib. That's not an issue. It has to do with the marker not doing well, not performing well on the over the glaze. Now I'm gonna call, let's see, do I want that? This is a dusty pink. Oh no, that's putty. I could have used that instead of the almond. This is, no, where's my tea rose? No. Oh, blossom. I think I will use blossom for a little cheek color. Just for a little facial color here and there. And I'm going to put that in the mouth as well. I'm as proficient as I can be. I apologize if you're seeing these fruit flies. They are very annoying. They are annoying me to no end. And I think I'm going to go back and get a little bit of more shading in here. I'm trying to stay in camera, and I'm going to be jumping up just to make sure, because I don't have a lot of experience doing adult coloring videos. I've watched, would I be exaggerating if I said thousands of them? I don't think so. But I've not actually filmed one myself. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how close I should be, what the angle should be. Any feedback from you guys in the comments would be appreciated. No, Kelly Renee, get a little closer, or do it this way, or we couldn't see a whole lot. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with this. I haven't done her lips yet. I haven't decided what color to do them. And I will be mixing and matching my sets. I keep my Blicks and my Copics nearby. And I will pull out my Pro Marker case to show you that collection at some point. Now, this color is Spice. I'm going to use Spice for the next phase. I kind of want a variety of skin tones here. Alright, variety is the spice of life. Did I just make a funny? Not even sure. I'm hoping these color combinations are going to work. I have not colored in quite some time. And I've kind of, this is tan? Yeah, this is tan. I'm going to use a variety of colors here. I'm just picking colors that I think will work. I've been using these markers since I've owned them since 2013. But I don't have the color combinations committed to memory. I love these markers. Bullet tip or no bullet tip, I don't know. It's just, maybe it's because these are the markers I started with. And that's why I have such a passion for them. Like I said, I own the Ohuhu and the Cali Art, Blick, some Copics, and they're all fantastic lines. Marker brands. All of them. But these are my, if I'm doing like a whole page of markers, I would pull out my Pro Marker set. And that's the set I would be using. Let's see here. So that was Spice. I did Tan. I did Almond. And I am going to go with a different cheek color. I used Blossom on the other one. And then, well, that's a yellow. I don't even know why that's in there. What color is this? Pale pink. I'm going for it. I'm just going for it. I'm grabbing it and going for it. And I'm going to do a little bit of pink on that nose because I think it looks cute. And then I need my almond again to blend. Like I said, I'm kind of out of practice, guys. Fingers are crossed. It just turns out halfway decently. Okay. And I would have more color choices had I... This is nutmeg. Oops, wrong end. Had I pulled out my marker case and allowed myself to make use of a larger palette option, but I chose not to do that. See, I like the bullet end. This is a brush tip, and I just think I'm better with the bullets. That one's so flexible. Okay, we're going to hopefully not use that one too often. This is a tan again. I'm going to pull that out. And I would not mind some marker tips. I've been coloring for years. And there was a time that's all I did. I stopped art journaling and I just started coloring, and I just enjoyed. I should be jumping up and checking on making sure I'm in frame. I do believe I am, but Okay, let me just double check. Making sure I am in frame. And I just did that one. Yeah, I was in frame. So I'm going to try to stay that way. Okay, I'm going to do a lighter skin tone. I did have a putty. Where did I do with that putty? This is putty. This is lighter than that. What I think I'll do, make sure, yeah. I'm going to start with the tan. This is a tiny little face. You can barely see it. It's right there. So I'll just do a little bit of shading on that. Here and there. And then I'm going to use this lighter shade. Let me go ahead and get the pink in there for those cheeks. It's so tiny. I mean, it is a face, but man. And this is the putty. Yeah, I don't want to make that skin tone too dark because the face is so small. And that is a little bit of a cheek, I believe. Right on the opposite side of that nose. So I'll put the pink there. And that's about all there is on that particular face. There are a lot of faces. If you look over here, there are a lot of faces peeking out. So at some point, I think I'll pause the video and get more of these faces done in order to, let's see, this is that spice. That's quite dark. I'm going to go for it. I got it in my hand. I'm going to go for it. And I'm just following the sketch and getting it darker. That's hair, so I don't want to do that. I'll go ahead and grab that tan again. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and pause the video. Because I don't know. You guys have to let me know in the comments when I pause the video if you would prefer me to keep the video going. But that just makes for a longer video. And I'm just repeating the steps here on just a lot of faces. So if I pause the video and get the faces done, then I could move on. I can move on to a different area and speed up the progress, and you guys can just see it after I get this piece done rather than see me or watch me do a bunch of faces. I want more. I could go to my Copic stash and get a stronger pink. But I don't know. That's working out. These are tiny little faces and I don't need a whole lot of shading. But obviously I want some. I want some definition. And I'm not sure. Okay, there's the music. I've got my wax melt going over here on the side with some jasmine blossom scent. And it's very soothing. The smell is just very comforting. Okay. Okay, let me, I've got eyes in this little area right here, just eyes poking out. Let me go ahead and bring this up a little closer as I get the faces in. And I've got faces coming out here and here. Little baby face right there. I've got some more faces over here, which I don't mind. But I think I'll go ahead and pause the video, get a few more done, and then come back, maybe do a few more, pause the video until all the faces are done, and then I will go ahead and start prepping the page and get some other areas done, so we shall return. Okay, we're back. I finished the faces. Let me just kind of bring them up closer. I may have some touch-ups here and there. See all the faces here. All done in alcohol marker. I haven't taken any pencil to it or anything. Just alcohol marker. Okay. I am going to... Oh, let's see. Do I want to... No, I don't think I want to do any pencil. These faces are just so small. They're so small. Now, I'm going to go ahead and prep the page. Let me just go ahead and get... Oops. Knocking things over. This is the satin glazing liquid. And that's what I'm going to use. Just put a little bit on the page. That's just the way I do it. And let me grab just a plastic card. They come like this. They just come white. And I take some alcohol ink and put some color on it. Because when you lay it down, sometimes I just don't see it. Right? So having a little alcohol ink on the page, I'm trying to keep it in frame here. And I just move it over with the credit card, or with the plastic card. And years ago, I was doing so much art journaling, I would put my plastic card down and then I couldn't find it, which caused me to want to put some color on it, so at least it stands out. Once I get that on there, I usually just take a dry foam brush to make sure it's evenly applied. And I just a very thin coat. And we can go ahead and let that either air dry or heat dry it. My heat gun. Just very lightly. And let me just clean the card. Okay, so I've applied my first coat of the satin glazing liquid. I'm going to let that just kind of rest for a little bit. Let it at least partially air dry. And then I'll finish up the drying and do another light coat on the page itself. And then I'm going to, let's see, do I have streaks? I shouldn't have any streaks. I don't use a, I know many colorists that do prep their pages do use a paintbrush, but I really don't like the paint, the brush marks. So I just use the card to apply it very thinly, and then take this very lightly and get out any ridges left behind. By using the card, as you pull, you're building ridges. And I don't want the ridges either. So I use these two tools. It doesn't matter if I'm applying clear gesso or the satin glazing liquid. I do the same procedure. Apply it with the card and then smooth it out with a foam brush. That's what I do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. I did go back as I was finishing up the faces up here. I did go back down here as the alcohol dried. I could see how intense the color was or not, and I did some reapplication to get the faces a little bit more character by adding some more shading here and there, pinking up the cheeks a little bit more. I did pull out from my Blick Studio package here. They have one very strong cheek color. There's only that one strong cheek color in the package. And these are the only Blick markers that I own. I just bought the Studio Portrait. And I was a little disappointed when I went to buy refills, because I buy refills for everything. If they have refills. My Pro markers don't have refills. So I just replaced the marker. And I found that many of these colors didn't have refills. I know Blick sells 144 set, and they have 96 refills. So you'll have to replace the markers. So, which is why I didn't invest in the full line. I do like the markers very much. But, I could always get a compatible or close color in the Copic line to replace ink for the Blick markers. Maybe it wouldn't be an exact match, but what can you do if you don't want to buy the additional marker? So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, let this dry, apply a second coat, and we'll go from there. Okay, I have applied the second coat of the satin glazing liquid. So that's all set. I also had a clothes change, if you notice that. Let's see here. I am going to work on the face a little bit. I'm going to smooth it out. It's nice and smooth from the alcohol marker. I don't have any streaking or anything like that, but I want to add a little bit more shading into some of the larger faces. And I'm just going to do that with pencil. And then I'm going to use my Tombow Colorless Blender, which is my tool of choice to work with pencils. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the pencil. Like I said, not in all the faces, because they're just too small. They're just too small. But I do want to get a little bit more contrast and shading here and there. And then after I do that, I'm gonna just use my border-based colorless blender. I use this Tombow colorless blender for my dye-based inks, from my pencil, from my dye markers. It is just a great tool to blend pencil. There's lots of, you can use Gamasol, you can use mineral spirits, there's lots of paraffin wax, there's lots of solutions to doing this. This is just the one that I chose. And I'm going to add a little pink, a little bit more pink. Just very lightly. Just so it stands out just a little bit more. The alcohol is dried. And I just want those cheeks to stand out a little bit more on some of these faces, because I think it's really cute to have pink or peach cheeks. Let's see, maybe a little bit more here at the top of this pyramid. What do you guys, you colorists that are watching this channel, Can you tell me what you use in the comments for your pencil blending solution? I also want to do the lips, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just do that in pencil. And I think I want... Now my pencils. Some of them are my premium pencils. Let me show you this, because you know how I love to share the things that I use. This is a product that I get from Amazon. The brand name is Deflecto, and it is an acrylic organizer that has slots. This is one of the drawers. I'm very close in because of the coloring, and I don't want to back it up. But you see it has three sections. And this is how I organize and store all of my mini inks, all of my pencils that I keep on my desk, all of my watercolor pencils, and then I have a fourth one of these that has mediums in it. It has my blending brushes in it. It has washi tape in it. It has my bleed proof white in it. It has my distressed glaze in it. It just has materials and tools and supplies. So I have 4 of these, and 2 are stacked one on top of the other, and they're kept on my desk. There's 2 of them over there and 2 of them over there. And that is a product that I bought one of them, and it worked so well that I ended up, over time, bought 3 more. And that is how everything is organized on my desk. Now, in my pencil drawer, I have my premium pencils, which are Prismacolor. Not all of them. I have some Prismacolor, and I have some budget pencils. Brute Funer, they're square pencils. I think they only sell them in round now, but I bought them at the time they were being offered in square. And they're just mixed in there. I don't know what color this is. I kind of look at the color, and I decide at the time that I'm looking at it whether or not I'm going to use it. So that's just the way that works for me. And what color is this? It says bronze. Doesn't matter to me. It's color that I chose, and it is working just fine. It's getting the job done. So I'm going to smooth some of that out. And my top just came off. I'm going to smooth some of that out with my Tombow colorless blender. Just kind of here and there. And I buy the Tombows. As a matter of fact, I just bought a large order of these colorless blenders because I use them like all the time. It's a great alternative to using a water brush because a lot of papers can't tolerate water really well. So I use this at the suggestion of someone. I wish I could remember where I first saw this. I truly can't remember. It's been so long. But once I used it, I have mineral spirits, and I was using that for the longest time. But the smell of those spirits was kind of getting to me. This doesn't have an odor. If it does, it's not offensive to me. So I'm trying to stay in a certain area here. And I should check the camera to make sure I'm still in frame. And I think that is going to be good enough. So I'm going to get out, I'm going to choose and put my browns back. And I'll keep that pink out. I'm going to put a little bit of pink here. And I'm going to put a deeper red, brown, and gray. I have everything sorted that way. Oh, I like this color. My alcohol pens are sorted usually by value. And I'll show you what I mean by that shortly. And this one has lips. So we're going to put a little bit of red here. I'm not going to get fancy with any of these colors. And then I'm going to use the Tombow marker to smooth it out. And I want a little bit more. I ended up buying my colorless blenders. They're sold on Amazon. But because I store these with so many different products, and I only had a few, it was getting irritating. So I splurged and I bought like 10 of them. That way I don't have to keep looking for them. Who has a mouth that could use a little red? And I still want that a little deeper. Oh, my wax mount is still going. It's a Friday night in May 2024. And as I pick up a little bit of that red as I spread it, I have it on my tip so I can just tint some lips. I'm trying to see. Most of these faces just have a straight line. Okay, that is pretty good. I'm gonna give this one some red over the eyes. Okay, so I think I'm gonna clean that off. My white paper here. And I'm happy with that. I can put, that's sepia brown. Okay, that's back in the drawer. And I'm gonna pull my blue, purple, pink drawer out. And that goes in the pink. I have everything sorted the same. So I'm gonna do some green eyes. So, I think. I think I'm going to use Twisted Citron and maybe a peeled paint. I don't know, we'll try that for some green eyes. I'm going to start with the lighter. And I just pick it up with my marker here. I could use my eyeshadow applicators. Let me grab that. I'm wondering if this might be feeling a little bit dry. That is the downside of the mini ink cubes. They don't hold a lot of ink in the first place. And if they sit dormant for a while, they will go a little bit dry. A little bit of green there. And we'll do this one green, starting with the lighter color here. And let me stand up for a minute just to make sure I'm in frame. You can see the green eyes there. And then, let's see, it's right here. And then I'm going to put a darker shade up at the top and make sure I'm in frame here. Yeah. This may not be dark enough, but it is darker than the other. So we're going to start with that. I may want, yeah, I think I want a darker green. So we're going to go with Forest Moss. That's a little bit better. And a little bit more contrast. And I'm going to do a little trick. It's not my original idea. Something I learned by watching others. Other colorists. Do I want to do that? Those eyes are so small. You know what? Well, yeah. I already spoke of it, so let me grab it. Let's see here. I'm going to pull N6. I'm going to pull a gray. I'm just looking at my grayscale. These are my gray markers. I'm going to do C5. So I'm going to pull C5. This case actually came with the markers, and the markers are chroma markers. And I'm going to add a little bit of gray where I'm going to put the darker green right on the top of the eye there to darken the area before I add the transparent green on top. And I can do it now as well, just to give a little bit more shadow. And I covered up some of the white. That's not good. So let me get my alcohol blender out and see if I can clean that up. Oh, I will do it with my favorite white gel pen, which they don't make anymore. I went to buy some more at Amazon and discovered it was no longer available. Let me make sure that's writing. There we go. So I'm searching for a different white pen, and I've tried the Uniball. I've tried all the popular ones, and these were my favorites. But I just pulled the last one out of the box, and it was this brand here, Miss You Love, MISULOVE white gel pens. They don't have them on Amazon anymore, so I'm trying a different. I'm gonna have to find a different solution for my white gel pens. I'm not happy, but it is what it is. And I think I'm gonna pull a blue. Let me clean off that pen. And this is kind of a strong blue, which is why I pulled it. Let's see here. Get that out the way. And I don't know that I have many more eyes to do. There's one here. Some of the eyes are just too small, and it's just not worth putting that level of detail in. And the color I'm using is Salty Ocean Distress ink. Because everyone's going to have blue eyes or green eyes. And then I'm going to pull a stronger blue. Let's see, Blueprint. I'm going to pull that blue for the darker blue shade. Probably would be better if I let that dry a little bit. Or did my gray pen trick. Now let me do that. Just a little, give it a little bit of a shade. And this one a little bit. Okay, I'm not going to get more detailed than that with the faces. They're really, really small. They have an eye color now. And I'm good with that. I'll clean off my pen. Okay. Okay, so this is now prepped and it's ready for some ink. And I think I'll just start maybe with the small one. Now this is an underwater scene, so these are all clamshells with faces in them. So I'll just have a little fun with the coloring. Broken China. Use my eyeshadow applicator. And just put the base of blue in here for a few of them. Kind of get that color started. And it really glides over the satin glazing liquid. It really does. So I can get a nice smooth coverage. Just a start of the blue, and I'll put that there. And I think I want, what is this? Pickled raspberry. I do like that color. Put a little bit on the eyeshadow applicator and just get a few of them in that hue. Some of these faces I can see a little hair. So go ahead and get that on there and just give that a moment to dry as I kind of move on. Let's see here. Maybe this big one. I can add shading and detail with pencil or with a deeper shade of ink. Yeah, I don't use traditional blending tools. I have tried them. When I started coloring with ink, those were the tools that I had. So of course, I mean, it just kind of makes sense to try with what you have, and I just couldn't get a handle on doing this type of coloring with the tools, the typical brushes or Ranger tools that you would typically use for dye-based inks and mixed media. Didn't work in a coloring book. Now, Zucchini Kitty uses these tools quite well. I could not get them to work for me, so I had to find a different way. And once I tried these eyeshadow applicators, disposable applicators, problem solved for me. And I'm going to do some purple. Seedless Preserves is the color that I'm using. I'm just using the other side of the same wand that I have the pickled raspberry on. And I'm going to start putting some purple clamshells. Is it realistic? Nope. Not bothered by it at all. And the ink goes on like butter. And I go back in some places to darken the area to add a little bit of contrast, a little bit of shading. And I think, let me make sure I'm in frame. I am working on this one here. I'll bring it down just a little bit. That's really close to the pink. I should have picked a different color. I might put another color on top of that. Okay. Starting to get some color on the page. Those two go together. What other color do I want to go for? I'm going to go for an orange. Let me put that drawer back. I kind of want... I'm going to use... What color do I have out? This is C5. C5 I think is going to be gray enough. So I am going to put some gray down where I want the darkest orange. Give that a minute or two for the alcohol ink to evaporate and become a little less wet. Then I can put my orange right over it. And wherever that gray is, that orange will have a deeper tone to it. Okay, then I'm going to use my alcohol blender marker and just kind of soften that out a little bit. So that the color change isn't so stark. And I'm trying to remember what I said in my intro, my coloring journey video. I'm not an expert in any of these mediums. I just like what I like. And I just jump in. I just jump in. I don't know what the art rules are. I just kind of know what my rules are. And kind of have a feel. Let's see, ripe persimmon. Or persimmon. We'll start with that. And I can always add some shading. The different color ink. And putting it over that alcohol gray marker. I'm using one color. But that one color is changing tonal value by having the gray as an under color. A base coat, so to speak. And then I can kind of let that sit, and I can layer more color. Because I have that prep on there, I can work back some of the orange that I got in places I don't necessarily like it. Doesn't come back 100%, but I can walk it back for the most part. So if you've tried distressed ink or ink coloring but didn't have any success with it and found it more frustrating than you expected, try using a different type of applicator and see if that does the job. I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to go back to this pink and just add a little bit more of the color to get a little bit more shading. Have a darker pink. I'll just make it more interesting. Here and there, like in this area here, once it's dry, and dye ink is the second fastest drying ink. Only ink that dries faster than dye ink is chalk. So let that dry, and then you can layer. And that was purple. So let's see here. Oh, this one's so cute. It's over here by itself. I'm gonna put a little pink on that. It's a little baby. And I want a little bit more shading. This ink is only going to go so dark, so I may have to grab a pencil. And that's that. Flip it over, use the other side for the purple. Give a little shading in that area. Okay. That is coming together nicely. I'm gonna work on, that's the wand for that. And I'm gonna pull in the blue wand and do the same in the blue. And I just wanna double check my framing. Okay. Okay. All right. So guys, let me know in the comments the start and stop. I show you a little bit of what I'm doing, and then I stop, finish up whatever I was doing that we talked about before I ended the video. Is that format, is that approach one that is working? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to do these videos. And yes, I've watched a lot of other colorists, but I'm trying to keep the video time down because I've seen color alongs that are multiple hours. Now, we all know that are colorists that a page taking 3 or 4 hours to do is not unusual. But I don't know that I want to do a 3-hour video. So I decided to stop the video, get a little progress going, and then come back and I don't know if that was a good decision or not. And I won't know until you guys kind of weigh in and give me some feedback as to, yeah, we like that format, that's a good format, or coloring aid get a clue. We want to see everything. We'd rather have the 3-hour video and see everything. And I really don't know how many of my subscribers do adult coloring. Now, I've heard from a few. Heard from a few people. Some are actively coloring. Some are just diamond painting. But the reason that I'm moving forward with this content is because I want to break up what I'm doing and not just be a one-trick pony. Because trust me, it was kind of in my head when I started the channel. I wanted the name of the channel to be more generic than just a diamond painting channel. Okay, I like that. And that, what color is that? Broken China. I got some good coverage on that. Do I want to do a different blue? Maybe I should do... I'm going to stick a yellow. Start with a very light yellow. I'm wondering, if you're a colorist and you enjoy adult coloring, do you use ink? Just like in diamond painting, I was asking viewers whether or not they were tapers because I use double-sided tape on my multiplacer. And I didn't find a lot of takers. There were some interest there, but for the most part, people aren't tapers. I was using wax in my single placer and double-sided tape on my multi-placers. I have since revisited glue dots, and I have been converted to a dotter from a waxer. And I have good wax. And the wax that I keep, Patty Wax Super Sticky and Pure Bliss wax, are two of my favorite waxes. And that's what I stock. But I wanted to try tape again. I wanted to try something new. I wanted to kind of step out of that comfort zone. To rediscover wax. Not wax, glue dots. I tried a different glue dot, and I found that I really like it. Okay, that was yellow, so we're gonna let that dry. I'll keep the wand with the yellow, and I'm holding this page up and hopefully you can see it. Let me stand up to get it a little closer as I bring the color in. I want to get it as close as possible. There's always a risk of doing that because you're going to see my mistakes and all that, but you know what? I'm having fun, and just wanted to show it kind of really up close how it's coming out. Okay, what other color? I haven't done green. Do I want a green clamshell? I think I do. I'm going to use a couple of shades of green. I'm going to use, this is Memento New Sprout. This is a very, very light green. And what did I say this before? I don't know if I said that. If I'm repeating myself from my intro video, apologies. I can't remember It was only a 27-minute video, but hey, I can't remember everything that I said. If you're going to use inks, go ahead and give it a try. But one of the things I would recommend is that if inks are going to be a mainstay for you, and you're going to incorporate it into your coloring, decide what ink you're going to use. Start with whatever you have. Just start there. If you've got dye ink, be it Distress or Memento or any brand, just start with that one. Oh, I wanted to do some hair. I think I'll give this one yellow hair because I like this color. This is Peanut Brittle. My yellow was Dandelion, both Memento. One of the things that you should do, recommendation, learn your ink. Start working with it. This is a dirty yellow, so it gives me some nice shading. Where else do I have hair? I want some red hair too. Start with the ink that you have. Get yourself a tool, be it a blending tool, a traditional ink blending tool. I think you'll quickly find that the ink blending brushes are not going to be your friend. They're just not precise enough. I use the eyeshadow applicators, as I've said. Okay, I need to let that dry. So that's my yellow. And this is, let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna move that. You see how I have my ink, oops. You see how I have my ink all kind of sitting there with the wand right on top of it? Yeah, that's what I do. Hopefully, I'm trying to move this camera a little bit. Come on. Okay. Okay, I think I'm okay. Trying to keep everything in frame. I've got pink. What color am I gonna do this one? It's at the bottom, it's the biggest one. Let's see. I don't want to do blue. I don't want to do pink. I don't want to do orange. I just did that yellow. Maybe I'll do a red. Maybe I'll do a red clamshell. Because I haven't done that yet. And that new sprout was a very, very faint. It just takes the white away. It's a little hint of green. So, I'm going to do another orange one. Oops, not that. I'm going to use my gray alcohol marker to get some of the shading in before I put the orange. I could use multiple grays to get multiple values of that single color. But, as we have established, Kelly Renee is a lazy bones. I'm going to let that kind of dry. And I'm going to go to my second ink. Do I want a really dark ink? I'm going to try... Okay, we'll go with this color, which is Memento Cottage Ivory. And I'm going... Okay, that was a good choice. I like the green. As soon as it hit the shell, I liked it. So I'm going to work with that. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit more blending. Okay, that's green, and I also did this one green, I think. Yeah, so what I was saying about inks, learn your inks, Learn your palette for that brand or whatever brands that you're going to incorporate for coloring. And that's one thing you should do. And I'm a huge, Distress Ink palette fan. So, which is why the watercolor pencils that I have are Distress Inks. I know the palette. And I was anticipating a quality product from Ranger. And I'm not disappointed in what I have. Do I want to do another green? That one's going to be orange. This is going to be orange. Let me make that orange first. While I think about the color of the shell that's on top. If you're watching me doing this application and you're of the opinion, I don't want that orange there. Let me see if I can, I can wipe it back. Yeah, that's going to be good enough. And you're of the opinion that's applying really easily, you would be correct. Yeah, as I've said, with the satin glazing liquid on top. Now this is Nima, or is it called Nina or Nima? I think it's Nina paper. 110 pound cover cardstock. I bought a ream years ago. 2020, 2021, 2022. I'd have to look it up. I could have bought it as early as 2019 for my art journaling. And learning what paper the art journaling community was using or recommending, that's the paper that I went with. Learn from them. It is my favorite thing about social media when it's not abused, is that it has opened up opportunities to learn and try new things for so many. I believe it's changed lives for the better. It's when it's abused and misused that everything goes south. Everything just goes south. Few bad apples ruin it for everyone. Kids being bullied online and the things people do to each other. Okay, this lady's gonna be a redhead. I'm gonna start with orange and put a little brown over it. She's in a yellow clam shell, and she's going to be, I got some yellow on her hair earlier. That's okay, the orange is darker, so it'll just blend. And Distress Ink, or dye-based ink, is translucent, and it blends so nicely. Now she has hair. What color I'm gonna make that shell? I don't know. Okay, so I gotta let that orange hair dry. I think I'm going to go red. And when I use Matter of fact, I want to put a little bit more blue here and there. When I use my eyeshadow applicators, now because this is water-based, you can just wash off these applicators in some sudsy water. And then put them on a paper towel or something overnight and just let them dry and then reuse them. That would be the environmentally friendly thing to do. And in all honesty, I don't do that. I did when I started using these. But the dye ink will stain the sponge. It will be free of the ink, but it will leave behind a stain. And it was causing me confusion and problems. It's like, does that have ink on it? Did I wash that one? So these are meant to be disposable, and guess what I do? Yep. Bye-bye. I dispose of them. Like I said, I buy them by the hundreds. I stockpile them, and I've been buying them for a while. And I have a storage container full of them. Let me see here. I'm going to go with this pink. And I've got these little clamshells over here. And I just use the very tip, like this, in the smallest of places. And where else? Oh, there's one way down here. I'm gonna make that one pink. He's kind of peeking. I love the vibrancy of, oh, there's one right there. Maybe I'll do that one purple. I love the vibrancy of the ink. It's just so colorful. I love that. This little one's gonna get purple. Yeah, it's gonna get purple. And what color should you be? Should that be purple too? It's next to a green, a pink. That one can be purple too. Could be a different shade of purple, because this is seedless preserves. And I can pull out my blue, purple, pink drawer, and maybe I'll make it this dark color. Oh, grape jelly. Oh, a memento elderberry. That's really dark. Maybe sweet plum. Memento sweet plum. There you go. And I'm not going to use another one. I'm just going to... That is a nice, pretty purple. I can darken it up with a gray marker. Let's get that on there. Okay, I'm actually going to use this to get into some shading on this one. And get some shading because it's just a little bit darker. Yeah, once I started using these eyeshadow, I'm hoping I'm in frame. I'm trying to be. I'm definitely trying to be. Oh, I missed a face. Okay, let me put those purples together. Put the wand with the purple. And I'm going to grab alcohol. Now, this is not going to be... Thankfully, it's a tiny little face right there. Because normally, I would try to use do all my alcohol marker work before I put the prep on the page. Before. But that one I missed. Let me grab a drink. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pause the video. I don't know how long I'm actually into this, but I want things to kind of dry. And so, let's go ahead and pause the video, and we'll come back when it's dry. Okay, for this first session, we're at about an hour, 12 minutes or so. I'm going to go another 10 or 15 minutes. And I made some decisions on that last break. And I'm going to use a red. Well, that's not really red. That's lilac roses. I got to pick a different color, because I really want it red. So, this really should be with the pinks. I don't know why it's with the reds. Lilac roses, that's more pinky than it is red. So I'm going to put that with the pinks. Okay, I'm going to go with Candied Apple. Or maybe Ladybug. Candied Apple. That's the first one I put my hand on. So, I'm going to use my gray marker. No, that's the wrong one. I want the brush tip. And I'm going to use a red-gray color to give me my shading, as opposed to the other gray. This kind of has kind of a built-in red to it, so I think that would look better, because the other gray that I used was a cool gray. This one's warmer, with red already mixed in. So, again, I'm using the artist drawing to tell me where my shading is. And that is the area where I'm applying the gray. Just make it a little bit darker. Just kind of here and there. There are darker red grays in this gray set. But memory serves, Candy Apple Red, it's a really strong red. I'm hoping that I can kind of tame it a little bit and doesn't get too out of control. I'm going to spread that gray around so I have different values of the red, of the dye ink. So I'm taking that red gray, I'm using my alcohol blender. Oh, let me use the brush side, it's a little less scratchy. This was an empty marker that I got from Scrapbooking Made Simple, manufactured by Couture Creations. And it was an empty marker, and I filled it with alcohol blending solution. I also have a Copic blender marker. let's see here. Alright. I'm gonna let that gray dry. And I'm going to... Is this my red gray? Yes. I'm going to do this one at the very top, the same color as the one at the very bottom. Red. Let's see how that red works in this one before I land on what shade of red this one will be. But it will be red. Alcohol marker dries very fast. So I'm just going to put a light coat here and there to get that red in there, just as a starter. Let that dry and then I can build on it. I hope some of the things that I'm saying are making sense to those of you that are interested, who are curious about the use of dye ink in a coloring book. Like I said, I've been doing it a while, so I have a comfort with it. And some of you may be exactly the same and have a comfort with it, but don't use it, or don't gravitate to it too often. My dye ink is drying. I'm able to layer. It's a pretty large clamshell, and I think after I put the second coat on there, it's not getting out of control. It's a nice red. It reads red. So I will use the same color on the clamshell at the very top of the drawing. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry, and I'm going to apply that red over here. Let's get enough on there. Let's see here. And I think, I see another one that is just sitting over here with no color, and I'm going to do that one in red. That'll give me 3 red. Let that dry, and I'm going to come back to this one here. I'm not sure that's dried enough. I'm not so sure. I'm thinking about using a metallic gold or silver on this large clamshell for the spots on it. I might do that. Or maybe I'll use my red metallic. Or maybe gold. I don't know. Thinking about it. And I'm going to put a little bit more up here. It's not going to dry as quickly with the surface prep on the page, because it's going to stay wet on the surface longer. And I did this one here with the red gray. Okay, let that dry a little bit longer. And I've got one here, and that is screaming at me for yellow. I think a yellow would really stand out. Small, There's no yellow around it. And I like the brightness of this color. This is Dandelion by Memento. Okay, I think that's enough yellow. I'm gonna let that go. And what is this right here? Oh, that's another one. Maybe green right there. Yeah, I think maybe green. Make this one green. A nice strong green. Yeah, the only thing about these eyeshadows, I just wish they were a little bit longer. I have big hands. I've grown accustomed to them after almost 2 years of using them. But did I miss any clamshells? Oh, I did. And I don't see. I think green will work for this one too. Right there. And I'm really liking how it's turning out. So I'm going to put the green down. I'm going to pick up my orange and add one more layer of this orange over what's already there to darken it up. And then put that down. And I'm heading for the red again to deepen the red here. Just by layering on another coat. And let that red just really pop. And I want to kind of, I may do, as I end this video, and before I start the final finish of this, I'm most likely going to do a little bit of work off camera, and I'll tell you about it when we come back on camera, because we're going for an hour and a half. Of course, I've been at it for far longer than that because of the breaks that I took and the work that I did that was off camera. And I'm wondering if this should be a part 2 or should I just elongate this video by adding the next section at the end of this video, elongating it, or should I do it as a part 2? Because again, hopefully, if this craft has any interest for you, you just might want to listen to it, watch it, whatever, as you're diamond painting or coloring yourself. I don't know. I'm thinking. You're not here to tell me what to do. So I have to kind of figure out what makes sense to me. It kind of makes sense to do it in 2 parts. That way, if I put it in a playlist back to back, you can just watch them in order. And I'm going to actually give this one some red hair. Very simple. Okay, that's it for the red. And then I want to pull out Vintage Photo, which is, that's the yellow. Yeah, I go through these. So far I've used, let's see, 2, 4, 6. This is number 7. I want to put a little brown and that orange to pull it back a little bit. That is good. Just a little bit. And I can actually darken areas of the nose. Dye base ink. Just because I started with alcohol markers, I can actually grab my ink, put it right on top of the alcohol marker, since this is a brown, and just enhance some of the shading that I have in some of these faces. I am totally a mixed media person. Like 100%. Make this one a brunette. Let's see here. I've got brown. I don't want to make this one a brunette. She might have blue hair. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I think that's it for the brown at the moment. That was scary. I'm going to do a little bit more on this red over this gray. I just wanted to have a hint. Wanted to be dark. And I can also enhance this with pencil after this dye base ink dries. Come back with pencil. Just layer it in there. Just lay that pencil in there. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, that is that. I did have a yellow alcohol marker, and I'm going to use it since I pulled it out mistakenly. But I'm going to, this brush tip is going right over the dye base ink, no problem. Add a little bit of shading to those small yellows that I did. That dye base ink would be dry, and this will go over the top of it. Okay, that is that. That's a nice little touch. And I think I will break here. So let me go ahead and do my best to bring this in closer so that you can see where we are. It's very bright, it's cheerful, it's colorful. I still have the border area to do. And there it is, hopefully in frame as much as I can get it. Okay, I'm going to end part 1 here. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. This is fun. I still have barn babies to do. I have maybe a 6-inch by 4x6, 5x7 area left right in the corner, and that will finish off that diamond painting. And I'm starting a paint along for It's a Jungle in Here with diamond painting Bewitched Cat tomorrow, June 1st. And it only has 24 colors, so I'm going to be working out a baggie, so the kit up is like nothing. And I'm going to do a video on that sometime tomorrow, release that to let you know that paint along is underway. B-Cat and I hope that you can join us. If you have a jungle themed type diamond painting, love for you to join us. But I have enjoyed bringing coloring to the channel. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Let me know in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Give the channel a chance. We're still growing. I'm still trying to improve taping everything and giving you content that all can enjoy. And hopefully I'm hitting the mark somewhere. I'm still trying. And as you guys go forth in your everyday life, sharing your shine with others, remember to allow their shine to be reflective on you, practicing tolerance and respect along the way. Let's treat each other with as much kindness as we can muster. It's very much appreciated by all. I will look forward to finishing this and seeing you in the next coloring video, seeing you in the start of the diamond paint along, I think we're calling it. It's a jungle in here. Join us. We'll see you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.